Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you guys? I am good. How are you guys? Walaikum assalam. Chilling, good to hear that. Are you guys done with the exams? Are you guys done with the Admath exam? Anyone here who has already given the mid-year exam? I think कुछ schools में mid-year exams हो गए या होने वाले हैं. Walaikum assalam. Thank you. अच्छा, you guys are done. Okay. फिर क्यों देख रहे हैं आप लोग? My P2 is on the 12th. Sir Akbar मेरे नाम ले लें. I think you probably meant to say अगर. अच्छा, okay, सुल्तान ले लिया आपका नाम. Sir, AS level P1 quadratics का एक बहुत ही छोटा सा concept रह गया, which is called disguised quadratics. It's very simple. मैं सोच रहा था कि उस पर स्ट्रीम करूँगा तो मुश्किल से आधे घंटे की भी नहीं होगी. तो I was thinking maybe I just do a video. So functions and inverse. Yeah, if you're talking about P1, then all the important chapters, inshallah, I will stream, but I'll do it close to. I'll do it inshallah after January. Okay. Sir, I got college test for integration differentiation. I don't know anything. Test is 11 days. No, any idea. YouTube is your safest bet. There are plenty of videos that you'll find on the channel. That's your safest bet. Shout out Jawad. There you go, Jawad. So I found you yesterday. Tomorrow is my paper. Your video. So thank you. So then better late than never. Anyway, screening exams on January. Sir, can you do vlogs? I already have videos on logs, by the way. Sir, tips for private students not taking tuitions. Even so, how to cover admaths on my own. If you're not taking tuitions, then I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are extremely self-disciplined and you have all the resources at your disposal, such as you have all the books and you have all the necessary material, then that's fine. And if you, let's say, have done some part of admaths in school, then it's fine. But being on your own entirely is not something that I recommend. Agar aap school ja rahe hote, so that's fine. But doing it privately and not taking any extra help, people do that, okay? People do that and they get good grades. Aisi baat nahi hai, people don't do it, but just make sure that you consider yourself and be honest with yourself when making that decision. You consider yourself to be extremely self-disciplined, self-motivated to do so. Okay, that's what I would recommend. And there are plenty of resources online. There's my channel. There are other channels also. And I will be streaming often, inshallah, after January. So you guys can then benefit from that also. Title is different. No, title is the same. Acha, in the screen. Oh, oops. Hang on, let me fix it. कुछ ना कुछ भंड तो होना ही होता है. ठहरो, I'll fix it. Hang on, I'm not reading what you guys are saying. I'll just fix it. अच्छा आपने बता दिया यार. जिसने भी बताया, I appreciate it. Whoops, ये तो कल वाला आ गया. Okay, there we go. All fixed now. Anyway, so let's start. Enough talk. I guess let's get to work. So please discuss the new topics in syllabus. If you're talking about admaths, then I have done the topic. I have streamed the topic that's recently added in admaths. Okay, मैंने cover करा दिया. Achha, by the way, before I start, you guys can download the past paper worksheet which I will be solving. It's basically a compilation of all the past papers that have been. This topic was added in 2020, so you won't find a lot of questions, 20 odd questions, okay? So you guys can download it, please make sure to do so. And now finally, let's start, okay? So today we are doing arithmetic progression, geometric progression. I think this will also be based on 2 streams. So I don't think I'll be able to cover it in 1 stream. Let's see how much we're able to cover, okay? So we'll start with arithmetic progression, okay? Now this is a topic that comes under series, okay? Under series, you have 2 topics. One is EPGP and the other is binomial. So a lot of people say that, where is this in the syllabus? This is under series, okay? I'll do the concepts and then we'll do some questions. And like I said, maybe we'll have to do 2 streams. So let's see, let's take it step by step. Anyway, so I'm going to write down a few terms, and judging by the pattern, I want you guys to tell me the next couple of terms. So we have 3, 5, 7, 9. Now identify a pattern and tell me the next 3 terms, okay? Then let's say that we have 18, 14, 10. Once again, I want you guys to identify the pattern and tell me the next 3 terms. Is it similar to the one in A level? Yeah, it's very similar to the one in AS. Very, very similar, in fact. Check out though. Yeah. So for the first one, 3, 5, 7, 9. What comes after 9, judging by the pattern? I'm sure you guys probably figured. So after that, we will have 11. That's correct. 11, 13, 15. So you can see that we are constantly adding a specific number, okay, and that is 2. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to identify this. I think anyone can figure this out, okay? Now, for the next one, once again, there is a specific term that we are constantly subtracting, and that's 4. Or you can think of it this way, that we're constantly adding minus 4. Okay, it's up to you how you want to look at it. Either way, the next term is going to be 6, and then after that 2, and then after that minus 2. Okay, now what are these? These are basically examples of, you can say, arithmetic sequence or arithmetic progression. Okay, they're both the same, don't get confused. Arithmetic sequence, arithmetic progression, they both mean the same thing. So this is an example of an arithmetic progression. This is an example of an arithmetic progression. Sir, do you give... my crash course is starting from January. You can join from literally anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection. So yeah, it's on the website, mathleadbysart.com. And yeah, we have a website now. So now let's write down the definition. What exactly is an arithmetic progression? What exactly is an arithmetic progression? Not that you'll be tested on definitions, but it's a good idea to know. So in an arithmetic progression, the difference between any 2 consecutive, okay, the difference between any 2 consecutive terms is the same. And what do we call this? We call this the common difference. Okay, what do we call it? We call this the common difference. Okay, the letter that we use is D, okay, lowercase d. So an elaborate way of writing this would be that as long as you're subtracting 2 consecutive terms, okay, so could be the second minus first, could be the third minus second, could be the 10th minus 9th. As long as these are 2 consecutive terms, you will get the same value, and that is the common difference D. Okay, as long as you're subtracting the preceding term from the preceding term. Okay, preceding means the term that comes after, preceding means the term that comes before. Okay. Now, there are some formulas, okay, for arithmetic progression which we need to know. So, what are the formulas? Let's write them down. Let's understand that. We will understand it with the help of a question also, but first let's write down the formulas. Now, if let's say you have 12, 15, 18. So this is your first term, we'll call it T1. This is your second term, we'll call it T2. This is your third term, we'll call it T3. Now, let's suppose that you want to find out the 50th term of this sequence. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to find out the 50th term of this sequence. So one way could be that you can write down, you can continue writing down, okay, following the same pattern till you get to the 50th term, but obviously that will take forever. Okay, that will take forever. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use a certain formula. Okay, and make sure that you guys understand the symbols that I'm using. T1 basically means the first term. Okay, we have a special letter for it. We're going to come to that. T2 means the second term. T2 means the second term. And T50 basically means the 50th term. Okay, the 50th term. That's what it means. Now, what's the formula? Here's the formula. And Tn, by the way, Tn means the general term, or we also call it the nth term. Now, what's the formula? Let's understand what the formula is. The formula is that Tn is equals to A plus n minus 1 into d. Now, this is a formula that you will be given in the exam. But if you do enough questions, if you don't have this formula memorized, by the way, that means you haven't done enough questions, okay? But if you ever forget, you have this formula given in the exam. So A is equals to what? A is the first term. N is the required term. And D is the common difference. Wa alaikum assalam. So let's say the question in the first part is asking us to find out T50, which means the question is asking us to find out the 50th term. So all we have to do is plug in the relevant values. Now let's find out the relevant values. So if you look at the progression, you can see that the first term of the sequence is 12. And what's the common difference? The common difference is plus 3. Okay. So the common difference is 3. Now we have to find out the 50th term. So let's do that. T50 is equals to A, which is 12, plus n minus 1, which means 50 minus 1 into the common difference, which is 3. So let's work this out. You can work this out with this will turn out to be 234. Sorry, not 234, 159. 159. Okay, so that's the answer to the first part, that the 50th term is equals to 159. Okay. Did I miss anything? Formula mix up. Okay, I don't know what that is. Yes, I went for Umrah. That's why this is not exactly a haircut. I got bald. So yeah, here I am. It's been over a month now. Now, part 2. Anything else? Will this video also work for A-levels? Yeah, this video is as good for A-levels as well. But I have a separate video in which I've solved past paper questions for A-levels. So you can take the concepts from here and then watch that video for past paper questions. Okay. Now let's say there is a question which says TP. Okay. So there's a certain term which is equal to 231. Okay. Which is equal to 231. And the question is asking you to find the value of P. Now, what does that mean? That TP is equals to 231. So that means there is a certain term in this sequence, okay? What that term is, we don't know, but that's equal to what? That's equal to 251. So if I write it down, we know that the first term is 12. We know that the second term is 15. We know that the third term is 18. So this is T1, T2, T3. Now, if we continue on the same pattern, there comes a certain term, we don't know what it is, but we know that it's equal to 231. Okay, so if it's equal to 231, this is the piece of information that we need to use. How will I find out the pth term? For the pth term, all I have to do is replace n with p. So A, which is 12, plus n minus 1, which is p minus 1, into the common difference, which is 3, equals to 231. Let's solve this. 3p minus 3 is equals to 231 minus 12. Let's just use a calculator to save some time. 231 minus 12 divided by 3 plus 1. So I'll just do it directly. 231 minus 12 divided by 3 plus 1. So the correct value of p is equal to what? Is equal to 74. So that means it's the 74th term. It's the 74th term that's equal to 231. Okay, let's make a box around the final answer. So here it is. There you go. Now let's add another part to it. Part 3 says find Tn. Okay, find the general term. Find general term Tn. Okay, how can we find out the general term? Here's how we can find out the general term. This is the formula. We've written the formula. Now all we have to do is replace the relevant values. So the first term is 12. In this case, we'll let n minus 1 be as it is. We'll let n be as it is, multiplied by the common difference, which is 3. So Tn is equals to 12 plus 3n minus 3, which means Tn is equals to 9 plus 3n. And there you go. That's the answer. Sir, you said 74. Oh, yeah, you're right. I said 74. Someone's paying attention. Once again, thank you for pointing that out. I keep making errors like these. Good evening. You we have Mr. Beast is in the chat. Okay. Sir, it is really requested to explain planes of symmetry briefly. Planes of symmetry, okay. I mean, I can't do it right now, but I'll explain it. When we're doing symmetry, when I'm making a symmetry video or I'm doing a symmetry live stream, I'll explain it then. If an arithmetic progression has finite number of terms, can there be two different APs with the same first term, last term, number of terms, but a different common difference? Yeah, that's possible. That is possible. That's a good question. But the number of terms will obviously be different. Okay, the number of terms will obviously be, in that case, different. So let's do some past paper questions. Okay, so here are some past paper questions. Now I'm jumping to past paper questions, but we're only going to solve specific parts. We're only going to solve specific parts, which we can by using the concept that we've just learned. Okay. So here's a question. This is from past papers. And by the way, the past paper worksheet, which I told you guys to download, please make sure that you have a look at it carefully. So what I've done is I have made this symbol in questions where you shouldn't be using a calculator. Okay. So as you guys know, we don't have specific practice material for paper 1, okay, for the new paper format where we can't use a calculator. But the good news is my team is working on it. We've already compiled like 2 worksheets. There will be more, and I will share it with you guys. It will be available for free. But in the meantime, make sure that any worksheet that I now upload, I will try and distinguish questions where you can and cannot use a calculator to make it easy for you guys. But I can't explain it orally. Okay, so if you're gonna spam, then I'm afraid I'll have to block you or hide you or whatever. So please don't do that again. Okay, you'll have to wait for a video. Anyway. So, here's a question, let's solve this. The 7th and 10th term of an arithmetic progression are 158 and 149 respectively. Find the common difference in the first term of the progression. So notice that we have, if I step by step use the given information, so the 7th term is 158. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to notice is this, that the first term is equal to A, the second term is equal to A plus D, the third term is equals to A plus 2D. The fourth term is A plus 3D. So we're trying to identify a pattern over here. If you look at the coefficient of D and you compare it with the term number, you'll notice that it's always 1 less than the term number, which is why Tn is basically equal to A plus n minus 1 into D. Okay, so you can see the term number is always 1 less than the coefficient of D is always 1 less than the term number. Okay. Now, let's use the information that we're given and see what we can do. So the 7th term, as we can see, is 158. 7th term ka matlab hai A plus 60. Okay, A plus 60. So what do you think? Is it good that we have P1? The thing is, my opinion or whatever I say doesn't really matter because the timetable is out. So it's irrelevant. Okay, what I think and what my opinion is absolutely irrelevant. There's nothing you can do about it. Might as well just quietly prepare for it. Okay. Now, the 10th term of the same arithmetic progression is 149. That means T10 is equals to 149. Now, by the way, here, notice that we have 2 unknowns. Okay, notice that we have two unknowns and we have two unknowns, which means one equation is not enough. We need another equation. Okay, if we need another equation, that means there must be something in the question where, with the help of which I can form another equation. Okay, and we're given that. That's what we're using. We're using this piece of information to form another equation, which is a plus 90 is equals to 149. Okay, so we have everything that we need. Now it's just time to put everything together and solve the two simultaneously. So let's write down the two equations. So we have a plus 90, which is equal to 149, and we have a plus 60, which is equal to 158. Do not use a calculator over here. Now if I subtract the two, a gets eliminated. 90 minus 60 is 3d. 149 minus 158. So 158 minus 149, you guys can work it out separately. It's 9, but it's going to be minus 9 because we're doing 149 minus 158. So this is minus 9, which means the common difference is minus 3. Okay, so we found the common difference. We still have to find out the first term. So for the first term, here's what you can do. You can use any one of the two equations to find out what the first term is. So I'm going to go with a plus 60 equals to 158. We know that a is minus 3. Minus 3 plus 60 equals to 158. 158. Which means 60 is equals to 158 plus 3. That's 161. So d is equals to, am I doing this correctly? 158 plus 3 is 161. Yeah, I guess I am. So 161 divided by 6 can be divided by... No, wait a minute. I think I've done something wrong. Common difference. Oh, it's common difference. That's minus 3, not the first term. Okay, my bad. So it's going to be a plus 6 into minus 3, which is equal to 158. That means a minus 18 equals to 158, which means a is equals to 158 plus 18, which is 166, 176. There you go. So we have the first term and we have the common difference. And there you go, fellas. That's the answer. 3 easy marks. Okay. Now, any question? Anything that I miss? Sir, will you be doing one more stream? Yeah. Okay, close to exams, I'll be doing plenty of streams. Don't worry about it. Anything else that I missed? Other than specimen paper, where can we practice for paper 1? Okay, so here's what you can do. There is no specific material available, sadly, but here's what you can do. When you're practicing past papers, try and avoid using a calculator as much as you can. Okay, when you run into a situation where you have no choice and you have to use a calculator, only then use it. But for the rest of for as many questions as possible, try and avoid it. Okay, that's the best advice that I can give you. But like I said, my team and I are working on compiling relevant practice material for you guys. So it will be out, inshallah, after the winter break. Okay, after the winter break, I'm going to sit down, just review it and upload it on the website. Sir, how are you so motivated, man? Don't you get bored doing? Well, it's my job. So no, I don't. An arithmetic progression has first term a and common difference d. The third term is 13 and the 10th term is 41. Find the value of a and d. So a very similar question. Okay, a very similar question to the previous one. So the third term is 13. That means a plus 2d equals to 13. And the 10th term is 41. So 10th term is 41. That means a plus 9d equals to 41. So once again, with the information, we have formed two equations which we need to solve simultaneously to get the answer. So in this question also, although in this question in the following parts you can use a calculator, but in this specific part, let's try and avoid it. So let's write down the two equations one by one. So a plus 9d equals to 41 and a plus 2d equals to 13. Now if I subtract the two, a gets eliminated, 90 minus 2d, that's 7d. 41 minus 13, let's see what that is. So we can't do this. 11 minus 3 is 8, 3 minus 1 is 2. So 7d equals to 28, that means d is equals to 4. Once you have d, you need to find out the first term. So a plus 2d equals to 13. That means a plus 8 equals to 13, which means a is equals to 5. So there you go, you have the first term and you have the common difference. Okay? Fairly easy. Now, What's the hardest topic other than calculus? I think the hardest topic is probably functions. Functions or permutation combination. Now, another concept related to arithmetic progression is this. Sum of n terms. Okay, sum of n terms. Once again, you're given formulas, but you have to make sure that you know how to use the formulas. Okay, so there are two formulas. Sn is equals to n upon 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d. Okay, so that's one formula, where n is the number of terms. N is the number of terms. Yes, I will do a stream on permutations and combination, don't worry about it. A is the first term and D is the common difference, same as before. Now, there's another formula, which is n upon 2 into a plus L. Okay, and here n means number of terms, a means the first term, L, however, means the last term. So according to you, which topic is the most hardest in O-level mathematics? Which topic is the most? That's a good question. I would say mensuration. Mensuration is the most challenging one. Okay, so for this also, I have taken out a specific past paper question which I'm going to solve. Here it is. Yeah, in fact, before I do this question, let me do another question, a fairly basic question from the book, and then I'll do past paper question. So just hang on. Here. So it says in an arithmetic progression, the first term is minus 27, the 16th term is 78, and the last term is 169. Find the common difference and the number of terms. Okay, we have to find out the common difference and the number of terms. So let's start with the first part. We're given the first term, which is minus 27. We're given the 16th term, which is 78. And we're told that the last term, now we don't know what term the question is talking about, that's 169. Okay. Now, let's see what we can do with the help of this. So 16th term basically means a plus 15d, which is equal to 78. Now we already know what a is equal to, so we're just going to plug it in. Minus 27 plus 15d is equals to 78. Let's solve for the value of d. So 15d is equals to 78 plus 27, which is 105, and d is equals to 7. So we have the common difference, okay, and the number of terms. Now this is interesting, the number of terms. Now I will solve this and then I'll give you a shortcut as well. Now, according to the question, the last term is 169, okay? Now, what's the formula? The formula for the general term is a plus n minus 1 into d, okay? Now, if this is the last term, that means this n is basically equal to L. So we're going to replace n with L equals to 169. Now, we know what the first term is. The first term is minus 27. Okay, so let's replace that. Minus 27 plus L minus 1 into the common difference, which is 7, is equals to 169. So 169 plus 27, let's see what that is. 169 plus 27. In this question also, try and avoid using calculator. 9 plus 7 is 16. And 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 196. So we have L minus 1 times 7, which is equal to 196. Now 196 को 7 से divide करते हैं. So let's see what 196 divided by 7 is. 7 ones are 7, 7 twos are 14, What are we left with? We're left with 5, 7, 8 is 56. So that's 28. And now solving for L, that's equal to 29. So that means there are a total of 29 terms in the sequence. Okay. Now there is an alternative way. There is an alternative way which I will solve. And I want you guys to just make a decision what method you're going to use. So no, I don't have a stream for vectors, and no, I'm not going to cover binomial in this stream. I will cover binomial later on, but not in this stream. Now, there is an alternative method to finding out the number of terms. Okay, now what's that? Let's have a look. It's the last term. N is equals to last term minus the first term divided by the common difference plus 1. Now, what's the last term of the sequence according to the question? That's 169. What's the first term? That is minus 27. Okay. Divided by, you already have binomial videos? Achha, at this point I've forgotten. I'm sure I do, but I don't exactly remember all the time the videos that I have and the videos I don't. Achha, divide by the common difference, which we can see is 7. Okay, we've just worked it out, plus 1. So ultimately the working that you have to do is the same, and which is why you get the same answer, which is 29. Okay, now this is a formula which you won't find anywhere in the book. It's just a derivation. Okay, there's no rocket science. It's not like I invented this formula or something. But this is a formula that's used to find out the number of terms in an arithmetic progression. Okay, this is a formula that we use to find out the number of terms in an arithmetic progression. Okay, now let's do some past paper questions. Let's do one past paper question, and then we will do the remaining concepts of geometric progression along with some past paper questions. And then I'm thinking to have another stream where I solve just past paper questions of APGP. So, an arithmetic progression has 12 terms. Okay, so that means the number of terms is equal to 12. The sum of the first 3 terms is minus 36. Okay, and the sum of the last 3 terms is 72. Find, अच्छा wait, ये ज़रा थोड़ा मुश्किल सवाल है. पहले थोड़े आसान क्वेश्चन से स्टार्ट करते हैं. ये करना था मैंने एक्चुअली. Okay, the third term of an arithmetic progression is 10. That means a plus 2d किसके बराबर है? A plus 2d is equals to 10. And the sum of the first 8 terms is equals to 116. Now, once again, ultimately, in most cases, you will end up with 2 equations which you have to solve simultaneously. Okay, just like the one over here. This is one equation which we have formed immediately. The second equation we will have to form step by step. So sum of the first 8 terms. Keep the formula in front of you. This is how you'll find out the sum of the first 8 terms. A divided by 2, bracket open, 2a plus n minus 1, which means 8 minus 1, into the common difference, which we don't know, is equal to 116. Now this is once again is a no calculator question, but that means it can be done without a calculator. So 8 upon 2 is 4. This becomes 2a plus 7d, which is equal to 116. Now 4 and 16 can probably be simplified. Let's see. 4 ones are 4, 4 twos are 8, 3 carry, 4 nines are 36. So we have 2a plus 7d, which is equal to 29. So we have the first term, we have the second one, and now let's solve them simultaneously. So we have 2a plus 7d, which is equal to 29. And we have a plus 2d, which is equal to 10. Let's multiply the first equation by 2 and then subtract them. So 2a plus 7d equals to 29. 2a plus 4d, which is equal to 20. So let's subtract the 2. Now 2a minus 2a cancel ho gaya. 7a minus 4d, that's 3d. 29 minus 20, that's 9. The common difference is equals to 3. Okay. Now that's not the end. We still have to find out the first term. So let's use the simpler of the 2 equations. That's a plus 2d equals to 10. A is 2, d is 3, which is equal to 10, which means a plus 6 equals to 10, which means a is equals to 4. And there you go, fellas. We have the answer. Okay, so far so good, I hope. Now we will do all the past paper questions at once. First, let's learn all the concepts of geometric progression. Okay, let's first learn all the concept of geometric progression, and then one by one we'll do past paper questions as well. Now let's understand what a geometric progression is. Let's understand. Acha, what's that? So I will fail tomorrow if. बेटा मैं अभी आपको सब छोड़ छाड़ के लॉग्स तो नहीं पढ़ा सकता, थोड़ा आप एफर्ट कर लें. इतनी आपने एफर्ट कर ली कि आप यहाँ पे आएँ, थोड़ी और एफर्ट कर लें. जस्ट टाइप लॉग्स, यू विल फाइंड, जस्ट टाइप ओ लेवल और एड मैथ्स लॉग्स, जो भी आपका एग्ज़ाम है, just type that, you'll find plenty of videos. उसको देख लें. That's it. Instead of spamming, you're wasting your own time. All right, now let's understand what a geometric progression looks like. Okay, let's understand what a geometric progression looks like. So let's say that you have, now once again I'm going to write down a couple of terms, and I want you guys to write down the next few terms. So we have 2, 4, 8, 16. I want you guys to write down the next 2 terms. In fact, write down the next 3 terms. And then after that, let's say that we have 64, 16, 4, 1. Now write down the next 3 terms. Walaikum Assalam. I have an entire playlist of add math vectors, by the way, which I recommend that you check it out. But there are plenty of streams lined up. Inshallah, if everything goes according to plan, there will be plenty of streams. आप लोग midterms किसी तरह निकाल लें, जैसे तैसे पुरानी videos देख लें, जो भी, whatever works for you guys. But before CIEs, don't worry. Most likely I'll end up streaming the entire syllabus. Okay, inshallah. So I'm done with calculus 3 times, but I keep forgetting how to retain whole add math. So, I've said this before, that you will never feel like you've reached a point where you can start yearly past papers. Initially, the first 4 or 5 papers that you solve of yearly past papers, you will struggle, because our brain isn't used to recalling information of all the concepts at once. It's usually that we're focusing on specific concept. Okay, so our brain gets used to recalling information of a specific concept. Okay, and we're talking about like 4 or 5 concepts at max, not more than that. Even if you're talking about differentiation, there are plenty of functions that we need to know how to differentiate, but we don't have more than 4 or 5 concepts. But when we're talking about differentiation, integration, functions, everything combined, trigonometry, then there are so many concepts. So it takes a while for our brain to get used to recalling all that information at once. So keep solving yearly past papers. Even if you have to take a look at the marking scheme, you have to open your notes, whatever it is that you have to do, keep on doing it. But then gradually try and get rid of that. Okay, gradually try and reduce your reliance on the marking scheme, on your notes, and try and be as independent. Try and be independent as soon as possible. As independent as possible and as soon as possible. Okay, so the next term of the first sequence will be 32, then 64, and then 128. And then the next term of the second sequence would be 1 upon 4, 1 upon 16, 1 upon 64. Okay, why? What's the deal here? The deal is very simple, that in the first case, we are constantly multiplying by 2. Okay, which is what we carry on. And in the second sequence, we're constantly dividing by 4, or you can say that we're constantly multiplying by 1 upon 4. Okay, so we're constantly multiplying by 1 upon 4. That's how we're getting the preceding term. So what is geometric progression by definition? Let's write that down. So geometric progression by definition, geometric progression. So in a GP, the ratio of any two consecutive terms is the same. Okay, and what do we call this? We call this the common ratio. So that means the 10th term divided by the 9th term will be the same as the 5th term divided by the 4th term. Doesn't matter which two terms we're talking about, as long as the two terms are consecutive and you're putting the preceding term in the numerator and the preceding term in the denominator, you'll get the same answer, and this is equal to the common ratio. So long story short, whenever you think of geometric progression, whenever you think of GP, remember common ratio. This is what should come to mind. And whenever you think of AP, remember common difference. This is what should come to mind. Now let's do all the formulas at once and then we'll solve some past paper questions, okay? So the first formula of a geometric progression that we need to know is the formula to calculate any term, okay, the nth term, which is Tn is equals to a r raised to the power n minus 1, where a is the first term, r is the common ratio, and n is whatever term it is that you want to find, the required term. Okay, and then there's another formula which is for calculating the sum of n terms. It's a r raised to the power n minus 1 over r minus 1. Okay, this is the formula for calculating the sum of n terms. That's what this formula is for. And this formula is to calculate the general term. And then there is a third formula as well. What's the third formula? The third formula is for calculating sum to infinity, which is a over 1 minus r. Now, sum to infinity is an interesting concept. Maybe I'll make a separate video on it. But remember, sum to infinity can only be calculated. You will be asked that why does sum to infinity exist or why does it not, when the common ratio is in between minus 1 and 1. Okay? So let's do a past paper question to understand how it works. So here's a question. We can't use a calculator in this. Here it is. The sum of the first two terms of a geometric progression is 10 and the third term is 9. Find the possible values of the common ratio and the first term. Okay. Now, another thing that I want you guys to understand of a geometric progression is this. That in a geometric progression, I'll write it down over here. The first term is a, the second term is ar, the third term is ar squared. Why? Because we're constantly multiplying with the common ratio. The fifth term is ar power 4. The sixth term will be ar power 5. So here also you can probably identify a pattern that the coefficient of r is always 1 less than the term number, which is why when we get to the nth term, we say it's ar raised to the power n minus 1. Okay, now when we're talking about like 2, 3 terms, we don't have to use the formula. We can just write down the terms manually. So when the question says that the sum of the first two terms, yes, we can use the formula, but instead of using the formula, we can just say a plus ar, the first term and the second term, which is equal to 10. And the third term is 9. So the third term is 9 means that ar square is equals to 9. So here is the first equation and here is the second equation, which we now have to solve simultaneously to get the answer. So here's what we can do. We can make a the subject from here. So a will be equal to 1, a times 1 plus r equals to 10, which means a is equals to 10 over 1 plus r. And notice the question is asking us to find out the possible values. That means we're likely to get more than one answer. And a is equals to 9 upon r square. Now all we have to do is equate the two. So 10 over 1 plus r is equals to 9 over r squared. Let's cross multiply. So 10r squared is equals to 9 plus 9r. Let's get all the terms to the left hand side. 10r squared minus 9r minus 9 equals to 0. We can solve this equation using middle term breaking. So factors of minus 90 that leave us with minus 9 will be minus 10 and plus 9 equals to 0. Let's take 10r common. So we have r minus 10. Let's take, r minus 1. And let's take 9 common. So we have r minus 1 once again equals to 0. So let's skip a few steps. R is equal to 1 or r is equals to minus 9 upon 10. Okay, so these are the two values of r that we get. Let's see if that's the correct answer. I think it is, but let's just double check to be on the safe side. Okay, that is the correct answer. Now, let's see what's next. Now we also have to find out the possible values of the first term. So first term is equal to 10 over 1 plus r. So that means 10 over 1 plus 1. So that's 10 over 2, which is equal to 5. And the first term could be equal to 10 over 1 minus 9 upon 10. So 1 minus 9 upon 10, that will be equal to 1 upon 10. Now 10 divided by 1 upon 10 is 10 into 10, which is basically equal to 100. So these are the two values of a, and we already found out the two values of r. Now let's do one more question of, okay, let's do this part only. Find the sum to infinity of the convergent progression. Now, like I said, I'll make a separate video to explain what sum to infinity is because it's a very interesting concept. But for now, what I want you guys to remember is that sum to infinity only exists if the common ratio is in between minus 1 and 1. So if the common ratio is in between minus 1 and 1, that means sum to infinity will only exist if I use this value of r. Okay. So according to this value of r, when r is equal to minus 9 upon 10, a is equals to 100. The formula for sum to infinity is a over 1 minus r. So a is 100, 100 over 1 minus 9 upon 10. Now let's see what is 1 plus 9 upon 10. 1 plus 9 upon 10 will be, if you take the LCM, so that's going to be 10 plus 9, so that's 19 upon 10. So 100 divided by 19 upon 10 is as good as 100 into 10 upon 19. Okay, so you can leave this in exact form, so that's going to be equal to 1000 over 19, and that's good enough. Okay, no plans to teach further math. Okay, let's do another question of GP. Okay, let's do this. The first 5 terms of a sequence are given below. Find the 20th term of the sequence. So first thing you want to do is you want to identify what kind of a progression is this. Now let me tell you, whenever you see signs switching, that means it's a geometric progression. And all you have to do is take any two consecutive terms and divide the preceding term by the preceding term. So we have the common ratio, which is minus 1 upon 2. Now the first term, we already know, we can see that's 4. So the 20th term would be equal to a, or which is minus 1 upon 2 raised to the power of 20 minus 1, which means raised to the power of 19. So let's work this out. 4 bracket open minus 1 upon 2 bracket close to the power of 19. So the 20th term, the answer is a little weird, but it is what it is minus 1 over 131,072. Okay, so there you go. That's the answer. You can tell by the pattern that the 20th term is going to be something like this. Explain why the sum to infinity exists for this sequence and find the value of this sum. Okay. The reason why sum to infinity exists is because r is minus 1 upon 2, which is in between minus 1 and 1. Okay. Now we need to find out the sum to infinity. So sum to infinity, as we know, is equals to a over 1 minus r. A we already worked out to be 4 over 1 minus r, which means 1 minus minus 1 upon 2. So this pen looks ugly? Really? So let me reduce the sharpness. Maybe that will help. So we have 4. Use your calculator over here. Okay, this is a question in which calculator is allowed. So 4 plus 1 upon 2. What do we get? We get 8 upon 3. So that's the answer. It's 8 upon 3. There you go. Okay. Now, like I said, this stream was more focused on concepts. I will do, inshallah, another stream where I will, in detail, solve past paper questions. Okay. So I'll do a detailed stream, inshallah, very soon, where I will be solving past paper questions. Sir, is your recent stream? Yes, the recent. So whatever stream that I do for maths, it's for O-level math is also for IGCSE. I take out questions from both, so it's relevant as well. So I completed my A-levels 5 months ago. Guys, uni is not for the week. Okay, thank you for the advice. No, I'm not going to teach further math anytime soon. But anyway, I suggest you guys to practice the remaining questions from the worksheet. Okay, do as much as you can. There are some really difficult questions as well, which we're going to solve. I'll do a live stream on it as well. Like I said, a detailed live stream on solving past paper questions. So permutation combination can come in paper 1 because for the... Yeah, it can come in paper 1. Okay, it can come in paper 1. Achha, I do have plenty of binomial videos also, which you guys can check out. In fact, you can watch the AS playlist. You can watch the entire playlist. That will cover add maths as well. Okay, because it's literally exactly the same. Anyway, so I'll stop here. I'll see you guys inshallah in the next stream. So take care everyone.